Speaking of midfielders, there's a sort of big reports going around that Amrabat is very, very close to his deal now with Man United. We know about this deal. We're not going to delve into the specifics of it. It feels very much like the club are essentially waiting to sell a few players and then they'll trigger this one into life. It looks like Amrabat wants to be a Manchester United player. But a comment came in here, and I want to point this out. I want to get the viewers watching at home as well involved. Also, hit like buttons, by the way, people. Get that smash right now. Amrabat, Mount, Casemiro, Bruno. It says Erik ten Hag is putting together the least press-resistant midfield in Premier League history. It's Amrabat not press resistant. I don't know. I want to put that out to the panel. What are we saying? Is it the worst team in terms of holding onto the ball in Premier League history?
I don't know what this comment's about. It seems a bit biased in my eyes. From the signing of Mount, who I think is totally underrated as a player. There's so much talk about him being mid, which I just don't get. He's an honest player. You get your goals, get your assists. He's a decent player to put in your team. Saw what Casemiro did last season. Bruno, he has his moments, but he's shown that he's been an absolutely outstanding signing for Man United. And bringing in a player like Amrabat would be a class signing to add to that midfield as well. So, yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about that midfield there at all.
I think this is just a case of everyone in this new trend of their midfielders have to do X, Y, and Z. So right now, their midfielders basically just need to be Frenkie de Jong. If they're not Frenkie de Jong, they're going to be upset. Like, those midfielders there, are they silky Frenkie de Jong from resisting the press? No. But can they actually shield the ball, turn, and get the ball off to where it needs to be? Yes. Yes, they can. So we don't need all of our players to be highly, highly press resistant, because all players get caught up in the press at some point in their careers and in the season. It's going to happen. So people saying that, it's the least press resistant, bruv, it's not that deep.
It comes down to how you play.
We'll play a way of football that suits their strengths. It may not. If someone presses us, guess what? Onana, just ping the ball back to Onana or Martinez, and they'll find a way through. It's not all about the midfielders doing everything for the team. Like, I don't see what they.
Funny enough, I think
the style of play though, doesn't it? Like, when we were successful, I'll tell you right now for a fact, only Gini Wijnaldum was really press resistance in our midfield, and he still got caught. But it didn't matter because we didn't use our midfield for the reason of retaining the ball. Manchester United, for me, are going to use their midfield in terms of get it as quickly as you can to the creative players so they can try and do something with it. That doesn't involve I need Casemiro to start dictating the tempo, and then my left DM to start dictating the tempo, and then I'll have Wan-Bissaka inverting in, so we've got another option so you can start controlling it. No, United have accepted the fact that we're going to play a little bit more of a direct style in our midfield, and they're buying players to suit that.
Have you just revealed something, Tom?
No, I was speaking from a United point of view.
I know.
But yeah, no. Funny enough, I do think Amrabat will be. Funny enough, I think he'll be your best midfielder on the ball. Do you know what I mean? I don't rate Bruno on the ball. I don't rate Casemiro on the ball. Definitely don't rate Mason on the ball. Let
me slow you down though, because I get when you say don't rate Bruno on the ball. So he's one of the highest chance creators in world football 5 years running. What is it about his ability on the ball you don't like?
I don't think he's as press resistant as what I would like for a midfielder in that position, in all honesty. I do think he creates chances. I think he's able to make good decisions here and there. That's one thing about Bruno. It's quite inconsistent. Once, he tries to make chances, which is good. But in terms of actually being press resistant, I don't think he's that press resistant, in all honesty. I think Amrabat would be the most press resistant midfielder in your midfield. But again, it goes back to Tom. If you utilize them in different ways, like Liverpool did a couple of years ago, then it could work. So yeah, it depends on how you want to play. But for me, Bruno, I don't look at him and think, oh, that's a press-resistant midfielder. I think it's just okay.
But Bruno rarely plays central midfield. He plays the 10. 10's being press-resistant. I've never heard anybody really worry about that. He gets dispossessed and loses possession similar amounts to KDB. So whether people think he's sloppy, not technically good, it's similar. In terms of Casemiro, look, he can have a wayward pass or two. But Casemiro, in terms of getting dispossessed in possession, that isn't what happens to him. When you challenge him for the ball, his strength and ability to roll out of the way is brilliant. And so is Amrabat. Amrabat and Casemiro together are exceedingly press resistant. exceedingly pressure resistant. I actually don't quite understand where the notion that they're not is coming from. Trust me, send your teams out.
This notion of
Casemiro
pressure
and
resistance
Amrabat in the middle and try and press them off the ball, try and muscle them off the ball, and see what happens to you. You're going to get slapped. You're going to get a dry slap.
I don't
know why
think
pressure resistance has suddenly become this big thing as well. Like it's the
I was
be all
just
end
about
all
to
for
say,
midfielder.
Because I told you that people just want Frankie de Jong clones. They want people who can turn, spin. They want people to look like Busquets and Xavi. Like, not every footballer is like that. It's a very aesthetically pleasing thing that a lot of eye test merchants want in their footballers. But yet, when you're losing, all those spins and turns mean nothing, innit? If you physically can't keep up with the pace of the game. So
I don't think
AJ,
Ten Hag's putting together a team that is plays that style of play, is quick passing, pass and move. That's the team he's put together. If you had Fred and McTominay in that midfield, then you could say these two aren't press resistant. As soon as anyone gets near McTominay on the ball, he's looking for that sideways ball. He's not got that pass through the players. He's not that type of player. But when you're talking about this squad that he's putting together now, they can play football. Like, I think it's just another one of these key words that people just throwing around, press resistant, and like you can see it. If you're watching these teams, you can see how they play. A Ten Hag keep is set up to keep that ball ticking over. It's not.
I mean,
really
look at this comment here. Amrabat is terrible at holding the ball and isn't technically enough.
I don't know what you've been watching, bro.
No, he's
I don't
right.
know what you've been
but he's
watching.
No. He's right. He's talking about Amrabat that was at Watford, though. That's the problem. He isn't speaking about Fiorentina's Amrabat. And then you get the comments like this, twisted bubba. And this is the thing. Why not want the best? The problem that you have is this. I want the best number 9 in the world at Man United. But Haaland is never joining Man United from Man City. So you can forget about it. If you think about the Frankie de Jong, Barca are not selling him. Rodri, you think Twisted Bubba, I love you as a member. You think Rodri's being sold to Man United? Like, deep it for a second. You think Arsenal, right? What we'll do, right? We'll phone up Arsenal and we'll buy Partey and Rice right now. Like, yes, you want the best, but they have to be attainable. And if the best isn't attainable, you have to look for a different way to skin a cat. There's literally, if you think about players like Haaland, there's 2 of them in the world. You can maybe count 3 with Kane, but he's older. There's Mbappe and there's Haaland. Only 2 clubs can have them. Everybody else underneath that as a striker is quote unquote substandard compared to those 2. But you can't all have a striker of that level. So you have to look for different ways to skin a cat. And I just think fans have got to get their head out the clouds and start to realize that. And to answer it again, that midfield, in my opinion, is very pressure resistant. I'm sure we'll be okay.
Could I just add to that comment? Sorry, Terry. Just to add to that. Like, again, we get stuck on this, the best. Like, players need to sign the right player for your club. When we talk about the best, it's so subjective. Who's the best? Are we talking about the best in the world? Are we talking about the best in the Premier League? Because I don't want to say it because I'm sounding like an old boy, but Ferguson used to buy the best in the Premier League. So in my eyes, he would have gone out and bought Harry Kane a few seasons ago. He would have bought the best midfielder a couple of seasons ago from the league that they know they can do it in. So this notion of the best, it's like the best from what? It's got to be the right player that suits your system. It's got to be the right player that suits your team. And there's so many different nuances as to what actually fits in your team. You can't just go the best because, like you said, 1, they're not available, and 2, do they even work in your system?
Also, how quickly do people, like, how many times has someone come into the Premier League and then suddenly become one of the best players in the league within 2 years and being thought of at that level as, like, wow, okay, they're at that top level, even though when they first arrived, no one was sitting there going, they're at that top level, they're going to be sitting at that top table. It doesn't happen. Sometimes you get the right environment and it unlocks you. This is why we enjoy it. And the thing is with Amrabat and Casemiro, the different types of DMs that, like, I don't think United would want another Casemiro because you've got Casemiro. You'd want someone who offers something different to either complement or offer something different to Casemiro in case you need to...
You're right, Tom, because they wouldn't go in for like a Paulinho. Because again, Paulinho
it does make sense to do that because
for example.
When you replace a player with a direct copy who is worse, you're just lowering your overall quality.
No, I agree. But even with the thing pressure resistance and being a word, so gunning you down, as now said, is Amrabat good at dribbling from the back whilst being pressed? So now you're not talking about pressure resistance. Now you're talking about dribbling ability. So now we're judging central midfielders on the dribbling ability as being one of their main attributes. Now he's okay at driving with the ball, But is he going to be Eden Hazard? No, like that isn't going to happen. But how many midfielders are? This is the thing that isn't. Again, I wouldn't consider that what being press resistant is. Press resistant to me is when you are stationary with the ball and you're being pressed and hurried. Do you have the ability to think quickly, move the ball quickly, or drop a shoulder and do a little roll? It's basic. The problem is with a lot of football fans nowadays, they try and make football sound like rocket science, and it really isn't. Football is a very simplistic. It sounds difficult. That means you don't know what you're talking about. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. This here says, do you really need press resistance midfielders when you have got someone with the passing range of Onana in goal up the terrace? Well, this is the thing, Tay. Thank you for the super chat. Yes and no. So the manager spoke about how he wants to be the best transition team in the world. But again, we've also got into the habit as football fans of taking everything our managers say in press conferences so literally into the nth degree. Yes, he wants to be the best transition team in the world, but it doesn't mean he doesn't want to dominate the ball at times either. So I see United, I don't just want to be a counter-attack team. But that isn't what he said. He didn't say we're only going to play counter-attack. You've seen a lot of Man United fans get angry when the manager has not said we have to win the Premier League or it's failure. And then you hear what Rashford said on the overlap today, that the manager never speaks about top four. He only ever speaks about us winning trophies. But he isn't always going to say that in the press because we know what the press are like. They're going to twist everything and always try and make things sound negative. It's like, stop taking everything so literally. We'll transition at times, we'll dominate the ball at times. It's going to depend who we're playing. If we're up against a team who are better at holding the ball than us, we're not going to go toe-to-toe with them because you'll get exposed. So, look, I agree with you. Horses for courses, and we were very good at that last year, and we'll just get better. Eric 7 Haag, nobody cares about United anymore. Game's the game. Yet you've got our manager's name in your bio. Like you're using their manager's name as your thing. We don't matter anymore, bro. Imagine that.
Imagine the same joke from like how many months ago about Man United.
I know you've been. I know it's crazy.
It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing.
I told you these Liverpool fans have had so much 7-Up. They've got the diabetes in Merseyside must be mad right now. Mad, legs falling off. People getting blind.
Hey, listen. Why do you think Tom's teeth the way they are, bro? You know what I'm saying? He must there.
Violation.
Yeah, the speaking.